Okay, welcome to your second video for typing class. This is just a brief explanation of one of the biggest hints that I have for you to not look down at your hands. Number one, you just have to make the decision, right? You have to decide, I am not looking down. I'm going to let my brain tell my fingers if I'm on the right keys or not. The best way to do that is to learn the number one hint. And these will all be mentioned in your initial lessons, but I like to point it out because this is probably the best thing that has helped me to learn how to keyboard correctly. This middle row is called the home row, and this will be one of the first lessons you have. That the home row is where your fingers rest when they are not typing. So we are just sitting them on there without pushing them down. And the best way to know where you are is on the F and the J, where my index fingers are. That's the first one, right? And then it's going to teach you that your fingers gently curve and they sit on the four keys that are in a row with the J. So F, D, S, A, okay? But the best hint is that on the F and the J is a little nub. And that little nub is meant to feel not smooth. The other keys are very smooth, every single key. But those two have a nub so that your pad of your finger can feel there is something different about those two keys. If you will get in the habit of not looking down at your hand, sliding your hand up to the keyboard and trying to locate that nub, you'll be on the home row in the right spot every time. My second hint is this. When you start reaching for other letters, probably the biggest point of frustration is trying to reach for a new letter on the upper row or the lower row. And when we do that, we're supposed to stay on the home row keys. Well, I don't know about you, but if I try to do anything with just my ring finger, it doesn't work very well. All these other fingers want to move because of how the tendons overlap in my arm, okay, and my hand. So if I'm going to reach for the O, or maybe I'm reaching for the 9, when I reach for that 9, I want to make sure I always have an anchor, meaning one of my four fingers is going to stay put while the other ones fly to reach other keys. But I'm going to treat this like it's holding me down like an anchor, okay? Like I'm stuck to it, kind of like you can't leave home base, so you touch it with one hand and you reach out when you're trying to touch other people when you're playing tag. You're going to want to tether. So if I want to reach for this Y, which is going to be my index finger, this pinky will always stay in place. That way I can reach and go. But when I reach with my pinky, the two middle fingers, they want to follow along because of those weird tendons, right? So I want to make sure at least my one finger is back on the right spot on the home row. It's not likely that you're going to be able to reach with your ring finger without moving any other fingers. It'll be exhausting, but you can move the fingers next to it as long as you are tethered, okay? As long as you have one finger that's holding still while you reach with the others. This gets especially tricky when you're coming down to this bottom row. Let's say I want to do the C. I have to get this finger out of the way or it's just weird, right? Because I'm supposed to do the C key with my middle finger. So I make sure my pinky is anchored so that my middle finger can come down to the C, or my ring finger down to the X, or the baby finger down to the Z. So I want that tether at all times. Do y'all see how I'm pivoting that way? Okay, so those are my two biggest hints. Good luck. Start looking around at the lessons and you'll have more specifics as we go along. But just get in there and start playing with lesson 1. Listen, do your best, and don't look down ever. Thanks. Have fun.